Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Maz.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
It is, when this episode comes out, the last day of January, 2025.
Yep.
Which means it's going to be February.
Yes.
The shortest month of the year.
Yes.
And then it's going to be March before we know it. Can you believe it?
I really can't. This month is really whipped by, and like my calendar just keeps shrinking. Things are getting very intense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are you at all ready to move?
No. No. Not even a little bit. I'm like, I hate it because I keep having to, like, it's a hurry up and wait thing. Like I can't do anything beyond what I've already done.
Oh, well then you're pretty ready.
Yeah. I mean, like we're in the process of purging, getting rid of stuff, cleaning out the garage and shit. This weekend we're going to do the final push on like getting the closet cleaned out. And then I'm going to start working on what to do with this stupid treadmill that we bought and took with us from Texas for some reason. I was like, the thing hasn't worked in 2 years.
Oh.
So yeah, it's just been like just stupid shit like that I'm like, okay, now that problem I kept putting off.
Yeah, having a not working treadmill.
Right, exactly. I'm like,
that's no good.
Yeah, I'm like, why do we still have this? Just like stupid stuff like that. So
take it to Play It Again Sports.
What is that? Oh, we can talk about it.
It's a store that
takes like broken
that takes old stuff, and I think they will take some. I mean, as long as it's like in one piece.
Yeah. I
think they would take it and try to fix it, and then they try to resell
flip it.
So
okay.
they might. I don't know if they like give you money up front or you only get it if they.
I don't care. Yeah.
Well, no, get some money from it.
I mean, sure,
because if they won't give you money, put it on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody somewhere will pay you money.
Yeah.
If they think they can fix that thing.
That's fair.
And resell
it.
it.
Because I think it works fine. It's just the belt's messed up or something, like the tread part of it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's been sitting in the garage for a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're like in the middle of doing all that like dumb stuff, and then also like pulling some backup living situation things just in case we get out there in February and the place isn't what we wanted.
Sure.
We've got some other places we can look at. So we're in the middle of that calamity. Yeah, we're going to be in Arkansas visiting in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm so freaked out by it. It's like, I'm second guessing all of my like work appropriate clothes and shit. Like it's becoming a whole thing.
Well,
but that is.
Fortunately, you know a place where you can go buy some more if you need them.
Exactly. If I get there and I'm like, oh, I was wrong. But yeah, so.
Maybe they have a closet like those movies about like fashion magazines where they have closets.
Oh man, that'd be
like
cool.
on Ugly Betty. I'm talking to you about things you've probably never watched.
I've never seen it.
You've never watched media about fashion magazines? Shocking.
Yes, obviously.
Not even accidentally watching something called The Devil Wears Prada because it's
I actually do want to watch that. Yeah. I know you think that would be. I saw I know what the cover looks like,
right?
so it was like killer heels. I'd wear that.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's like, cult classic status for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So
one of these days I'll sit down and watch it. Maybe tonight. I think Alex is busy, so maybe that'll be my thing.
There you go. Yeah. It's got to be streaming somewhere. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's kind of where my world's at. How about you?
Well, we're also going on a trip.
Oh yeah,
in
that's
a couple
right.
weeks. Like the same week you're gone, I'll be gone. So I'm just trying to get stuff done. I will say my last project I had scheduled for 7 days. It took 9. So
yeah,
but I had built in a little extra time with my next books.
Yeah.
Like both of the ones I'm working on starting next week. I had said, I won't get this to you until after our trip to Texas, just in case I needed to use those couple of days after we get back.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping I wouldn't have to. Like I was really pushing for like, let's just get it all done and then I can leave on the 8th.
Yeah.
And come back on like the 13th, I think it is, and then just have a couple days off.
Yeah.
You know? And then go back to work the following Monday.
Yeah.
Well, no. We're definitely working those 2 days after I get back from Texas.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is, but still, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. And that's why schedules flex the way they do.
Indeed.
So, yeah. But yeah, some books just take longer than you think they will. So, but right now I'm working on the 5th book in the Spectral Files series by S.E. Harmon. Guys, if you have not read these books, go get them.
Yeah.
They're just so fucking delightful. It is Rain Christensen is the snarkiest character I've ever had the pleasure of bringing to life off the page.
Love it.
And every moment is sheer delight, and they're paranormal murder mysteries.
I need to, you know what? I think I'm going to pick that up because I keep kind of whipping through. Like I finished the Tavia Lark book, and it was really cute. I really like that one. But I would love some good snarky escapism. So
now, I did not narrate the first book.
Oh, okay.
So you could just read that.
Okay.
And that's advice to everyone out there. I'm not saying don't listen to the audiobook, but if you're specifically going to hear me as this character, I did not do the first book.
Nice. Okay. Good to know.
I started on the second book, and I'm sure if you go to Audible, the very first reviews are still the few angry ladies who were mad that they changed the narrator and gave it a shitty review off the beginning. But fortunately, I got to continue doing the books, and I have heard from the author directly that she loves what I do.
Excellent. People are so rude.
And, well, you know how people have their feelings.
Yeah, they do have their feelings.
They super duper have their feelings.
They got to let you know about them too.
Yeah. In review sections. So, so I come in on book 2.
Okay.
And it really is like they're chunky reads. They're not like, like I feel like you get your credits worth on these books.
Sweet. Okay.
So
cool.
yeah, they're a lot of fun. Highly recommend.
Okay.
That series in particular, again, because it so closely aligns with my sense of humor. I always feel weird when I am like, go get this book. Because then it's like, why don't I recommend the rest of them?
Right. Well, sometimes it just lands though, because the Tavia Lark book, good. I really enjoyed it, but I was like busting a gut at Impromptu Match because it was so stupid. And it was exactly my juvenile sense of humor. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, it's funny. If you think fart jokes are funny, you're going to dig this. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So, but yeah, I can't recommend all of them all the time because the ones that make me laugh are always my favorite ones. Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So it's not a implied dig.
Right. Exactly.
At the other books I narrate, it's just every once in a while you come across one that's it just
really
hits right.
You. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I recommend getting any audiobook I narrate.
Oh, of course.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, there's a couple I don't, but you know what? Meet me at the bar.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you which ones to avoid. But other than that, most of them,
I feel like
I'm fine with people listening to.
We're gonna be at a conference and somebody's gonna slide up and be like, "Can I buy you a drink? Because I have to know which ones."
Why do you think I keep saying this on podcasts?
Like, I'm
trying to get drinks.
That's the real reason. Drinks for gossip.
I will gossip for drinks. Yeah. That's the trade.
Yeah,
that's the trade-off. Yeah. So it's a fun week in the booth, but like I said, they're chunky books. So this is also one that I have to buckle down. I have to get it done. So I have to stay on track so that next week I can be on track and then continue to be on track and just stay on track. So much being on track.
Right.
Can I say on track more times?
You want to do it like 2 more times?
I would like to stay on track to be on track.
Perfect. Bow on top.
There we go. So that's what's going on in our professional lives. Yes. And over on our Patreon, we are doing the reaction videos to the Animorphs series from Nickelodeon.
Super fun.
So we will be continuing that. And then we're still doing the early shift every Monday as long as we're both here. Sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
So, but
sometimes one of us is late or something. Or
most of the time it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can look forward to that. And perhaps some more things coming down the line in the future.
Indeed.
We're still brainstorming.
Yes.
But yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
So I was listening to one of the podcasts I enjoy very much called Writers Inc. podcast. It is a podcast kind of more on obviously the writer side of things. So talking about getting agents, industry news, what's going on with different applications and trends and stuff.
Sure.
And they also do author interviews and stuff. Really, really cool.
Love that.
The latest episode, they're actually talking about predicted book trends of 2025, which I thought was really interesting. And they were predicting, according to their source, that witchy books are going to be on the rise because of Wicked blowing up.
Great.
Dark books and really funny books also being on the rise, considering that the landscape right now is not great. So people lean both extremely dark, and I think they said specifically angry women doing bad things as like what they think is going to like really pop off this year, which absolutely love that shit.
Yes.
Also very funny books because it's like swinging the other direction. And then cozy, which I thought was interesting. Like such a weird collection of things. So I was like,
Yeah,
Probably.
they're painting with a wide
kind of
wide
a huge,
brush there.
for sure.
So
but yeah,
they'll certainly be right about some of those.
yeah. I mean,
these industry trends that are being tracked by experts.
They're like, I don't know, funny shit.
I predict one of these 4 things will happen.
Yeah, the witchy one.
Witchy.
I thought that was a little bit more pointed.
Not a big swing though.
Right.
With Wicked, that makes sense.
Yeah. And the other ones, I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like they didn't specifically say like romance. I guess romance is more evergreen, but yeah, it's just I thought it was interesting, so I figured we'd kind of talk about those and like our thoughts and feelings about them. So starting with the witchy books, what kind of witchy books are you hopeful to see, and what do you think is lacking in the genre?
Okay, hear me out.
Okay,
gay witch mafia.
I love that.
Because I'm honestly trying to think of like a type of witch story I haven't seen somewhere.
Down, right? I've never heard of that.
I haven't seen.
If it exists,
like organized crime
gay witch.
by witch families, and it's also dark. So like,
yeah, I guess
there could be a crossover there.
Yeah, you could make that dark really easy if it's mafia, of course.
Or make it cozy. Like it's the gentlest, sweetest mafia that ever did exist.
Damn, both of those are great ideas.
Yeah, like they don't kill you. They just make you like.
They turn you into a newt or something.
Oh yeah, they turn you into like a cute little animal.
Yeah,
and then you're like, well, now you're a pet.
Then you're like on a cozy farm situation.
Yeah,
shit, that's so brilliant.
So that's my pitch.
Plot bunny.
All right.
To give me
TM.
Yeah, TM.
Story by Kirt Graves.
Yes.
Concept
can't take the cozy one. The dark one, I don't think I can write super dark or like justify it. Eventually it would get silly, I think, if I tried to do
Well, that's okay too.
But yeah, for sure. But no, I love that. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that there's plenty of, or the growing trend of like gay witchy books are on the rise. But yeah, I would love to see more like, or get more recommendations for like gay witchy rivals. I think would be really fun. So, but I didn't even think about mafia. Shit, that's great. Yeah, I want to do that. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
Well,
you heard it first, and now can't have it.
Yeah. So that's one. I guess like because I do lots of magic books because I like manifested that a couple years ago. I was like, I would like some witches, please.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I started getting a bunch of witchy stories, and there's all sorts of like magic systems that I've experienced.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess the other part of that is like I'd love to see just like a really unique take on witchery.
Yeah, for sure.
For the magic system, like, why do they have that power? How do they manifest it?
So, are you more of a fan of like the more hard magic where they can explain it, maybe not like drill down to like a scientific level, but they tell you the absolute source, and it's not one of those just like everyone can do magic and don't ask questions kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's to me the stories where everybody has it makes it not special. You know,
I can see
but
that.
I guess that is part of like what could make it cozy because it's like
it's not one of
that
those like
part of the drama is not the fact. But see, the thing about a lot of monster stories, including witch stories, that I think I am drawn to as a queer person is that aspect of like having to hide yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
For
like
sure.
having an aspect of who you are that you can't make public. So that is also something I'm attracted to.
Yeah, makes
like
sense.
when the magics are like all out in the world and everybody can do it, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
It has to hit another way.
Right.
For it to be an entertaining story. If it's just like, well, everybody has magic. Okay, well then.
Well, yeah, it's not special. Like you said, it's not special anymore.
Yeah.
Which, that falls
if
more
everybody's
in the cozy
special,
stuff, so.
Nobody's special.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's a good segue into the cozy thing because we were talking about how that, I think in previous conversations, we talked about how cozy can sometimes be hard to nail because of the lack of, like, inherently the genre doesn't have a lot of conflict.
Right.
So it is.
Which for me is a problem.
Yeah.
I want an obstacle.
I wonder if there's, I was trying to brainstorm today, but I got sucked into work. Like, what kind of cozy obstacle would come into play for something
Listen,
like that?
make a baking competition as an obstacle.
Oh my God.
Like
yeah, there you go.
any
like,
kind of like gentle, friendly rivalry or like
that would be cute.
That can all still be cozy, even though there's real perceived stakes because like you want to win something.
Yeah. There's nobody's life is on the line kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So then it could be like a gay witch. I don't know. Now I'm hung up on baking stuff.
And witches.
Yeah. And witches. Well, now, yeah, it all has to like.
And we have to do every single thing.
Yeah. Every single thing. So a gay witch mafia, one of which somebody who maybe owns like a magical baking shop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they have to do like a competition of some sort to maybe keep their.
That's how they pick the new Don.
Oh my God. That's super cute. I love that.
Because in order to be a good potions master, you have to be a good baker.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how they, instead of having them create potions, they have them create magical bakery.
Hey, I like that. So yeah, that's how they deliver their like concoctions. It's not a liquid form, or they use that in the baking to make like magical bread and stuff. Oh, I love that. Again, nobody can take
Three potential heirs have to duke it out
so
to become the new mafia boss and owner of the local bakery.
Yeah. Is it silly?
Also, the sun has gone out and so it's dark. It's literally dark.
Yeah, or maybe there's like some type of
like
curse.
Eternal night.
Yeah, it could be like a curse because of the dawn that was picked last time was bad or something, and made a darkness schism happen, and the new dawn will hopefully bring it back. So then, look at that, we're hitting on all the points, guys. Did we take dark literally? We sure did. We sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaning into the dark genres. This one's kind of, I don't know how we're going to weave this back into our cute story we're manifesting. Okay. But why do you think we lean into dark genres when things feel bleak?
I personally don't.
Yeah, not your thing.
Yeah, like there was a lot of media that during the first Trump administration I could not watch. I still have not gone. Like I really enjoyed the first season of Handmaid's Tale, or at least as much of it as I got through. But I reached a point like around episode 5 or 6 where I was like, mentally, I need a break.
Right.
My worldview is a bit too dark.
Yeah.
To watch this dark drama.
I can. Yeah.
And I never went back to it.
I never even started it because I was like, I think this would depress me so much I wouldn't be able to crawl back out of it, kind of thing. So I just didn't. I'm the same way. I don't think I get into dark stuff. Maybe if this is going to sound stupid, but like hopeful dark. I don't know if that's a thing, but like if I know it has, like if it's bleak but has a happy ending, or it's one of those like triumphs of human spirit, but everything ends up being okay, I could probably get into that. But if it's just sad throughout, I don't think I could get into it either. Yeah. But just because I don't want to, like, I'm already sad. I'm trying to escape that. But I can see the allure from the other side of it. Like you're kind of leaning into everything is, it's more of something I guess you can control. Like you're reading this story, you're on a journey, and you know it's like a constructed world. But I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting too much into it.
I can't explain it. Because when people do that, I'm like, I don't know how you're consuming fake sadness when there's so much real sadness. Like, who needs a dystopian nightmare book and or TV and or movie when all you got to do is look out the window, read the news. Yeah. So things are rapidly getting dark again, and I have a feeling I shan't be watching the second season of Squid Game.
No, I started watching Trixie and Katya review it because I was like, I'm not going to watch this, so I'll watch them be a foolish pair together. So that one's fun.
I genuinely enjoyed the first season because I guess if you're going to do a show about murder, a lot of bright colors really help.
Yeah, kind of,
because it's
takes
bright
this thing
and
out.
fun, and but I looked at that the other day and was like, I just don't know that I'm ready right now for what I'm feeling is the eventual inevitability of this being real life.
Yeah, for sure.
That some billionaire is going to be like, we're doing Squid Game for real.
Yeah. Well, I think that's called the Beast Games or whatever.
Right, which I am watching.
Yeah.
But nobody dies. And they also did Squid Game, like the contest.
Right, that's right.
Where nobody actually died.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I think some billionaire in the next year is going to pitch. Let's just do Squid Game for real.
Yeah, but for real.
And one desperate person who is so financially unable to continue living their life because of the horrible situation that our country will be in.
Right.
We'll be like, yeah, it's worth it for $30 million or whatever.
No shit.
1,000 people will just risk their lives and one person will come out and we'll watch it.
Yeah. Ugh.
So I hope it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah.
I think
I would love to
one of these
billionaire
assholes is going to be like, maybe we should do it. I don't know. Like it's a way to cull the population and also get somebody out of poverty.
It could be a tax cut.
It's a win-win, you know?
Yeah. Dude, you're not wrong. Oof. Well, speaking, I was going to say, do you think we'll see a rise in dark humor in 2025? I think
Here I am.
Yeah.
I'm here. I've arrived.
Yes.
My humor is always pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm aligned. Mine is too. Yeah, so this is why we get along.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I don't know how to pivot because the person who we talked to earlier this week was so pleasant and wonderful, and we ended on such a dark part of this conversation.
I'll go back and listen to the fun witch
the bakery
mafia
thing. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. But yeah, we did have the pleasure of chatting with author Evelynn Carver about writing fan fiction, video game inspired magic systems, and much more. Evelynn Carver writes queer fantasy, romance, and other speculative fiction. She lives with her partner, child, and growing colony of tabby cats in the deep, dark South, also known as Atlanta, Georgia. I think it gets darker than
Atlanta,
sure. But yeah, I'm sure she sees her own fair share of dark times. She's been writing and drawing stories since she was in grade school and would one day love to grow up to be a real author. Mm-hmm. Here's our conversation with Evelynn. Welcome to the podcast, Evelynn Carver.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's so nice to get to chat with you and for us to get to know more about you and your work. So we're going to start with our typical first question for all new people on the podcast, which is, what is your author origin story?
So my author origin story, I've been thinking about this because I've been writing for as long as I've been able to. I've always been interested in storytelling. I probably started by doing like fan comics and fan fiction back when I was like in elementary school, middle school, like way back in the 90s. Way back then. way back then. And so I didn't actually start writing seriously as a novelist until maybe the last 10 years or so. I've been really heavily involved in like fan communities and writing fan fiction. And I didn't really make my own original stuff until my husband and I returned from living overseas. And I decided like, hey, now is the time to actually start writing. But then I had a kid. I got laid off from my job. And so that kind of stopped the writing for a while, but I was like,
and was this before or after the global pandemic?
Yeah, right.
That was before. Okay. Thankfully, I was able to get another job, a quite nice job at a corporate office kind of place that has excellent benefits. So we were able to survive the pandemic, which I was insanely privileged to be in that position, and they were all good with us working from home. I still work from home the majority of the time, but that didn't really give me a lot of time to write.
Right. Yeah.
So
not to mention our creative wells were all sucked dry.
No shit.
From oh my God. It was really hard. But I was raising a kid. I was working from home. I was on the computer all the time because I'm a digital artist, so I'm always on a computer. So finding the energy to write was very difficult. But I'm like, I'm about to turn 40. I want to try to publish a book before that happens. And thankfully, thanks to my publisher, 9 Star Press, I was able to make it happen.
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I just crossed the 40 threshold, so now I'm having those thoughts too of like, if there are things I want to do, like I should really start doing them.
Yeah.
Now. Like there's something about that time of life. Well, I guess they call it a midlife crisis.
Yeah, I was about to say it's kind of on brand, I think.
Yeah, here I am with my deep thoughts. There really is something about this time of life.
Yeah,
like it makes weird. You reevaluate that. Jesus.
I mean, it really does, and I think that's true. But I've always been really deeply interested in romance and any kind of stories, but particularly like in animation, in video games, in like comics. So it took me a while to kind of get to, like traditional kind of like romance novels. Right. But, I was always a geeky, nerdy kid. So I think it was an easy transition to get into kind of queer storytelling, and therefore realized I myself am bisexual, and those are the stories I want to tell.
This is a non sequitur, but I am obsessed with your glasses.
They are very cute.
I just got these.
I love them, and I love that they match your hair.
Right?
That was on purpose. I was like, ooh, those.
Yes.
Those
yeah, I was about to say.
We're friends. We can be friends. If you were buying glasses based on matching your hair.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that was, I was like, if I go one more second without talking about your glasses, I won't be able to pay attention to anything else.
I literally just got these last week, so this is the first time like people outside of my household are seeing them. So thank you so much.
Their debut.
Yes,
all right. So if you're just listening to the podcast, go check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, they're very cute.
See these glasses. Yes. Okay, so back to things you actually said. I would look like the fan comics and writing that you were doing when you were younger. Do you remember what they were about?
Oh God.
Like, oh God, now I have to admit some fandoms. Yeah, I get it.
No, I mean, it is silly because my very first fandom was the Sonic the Hedgehog fandom.
Dig it. Love that.
I was really deeply into the Saturday morning cartoons, the comics, and that's where I started my writing journey, was in Sonic fan fiction. Wow. And then from there, I really got into lots of anime and video game fan fiction. So that's where I've kind of like settled. That's
really cool. Have you watched the movies?
The Sonic ones?
The Sonic movies? I have not seen the third one yet.
Okay. I haven't seen any of them, but I know that they're like actually relatively popular.
Yeah, they're good.
They're really fun. Yeah. They're really fun kids movies. I did enjoy them, and my son got to go see them.
I was going to ask if your kid was old enough to be able to share that with you. That's really cool.
That's been fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about things. The cyclical thing, like popularity of IP, is eventually you might get to share your love of something you had as a child with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny because like now he's just at the age where he's also really getting into like anime and stuff, and I was like, now you can just get it. You can just turn on your TV and stream any show you want. When I was a kid, I had to go to, what was it, Suncoast at the mall.
Suncoast, oh my God.
And buy, 2 episodes on a VHS.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's definitely a back in my day situation.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand, man. I had like
to walk 2 miles uphill both ways in the snow.
Or exactly. I had my mom was a real estate agent, and she met a client who was Japanese. And so we had her family record Dragon Ball episodes from their TV and send it to us.
Oh,
and that's how I got Japanese versions of Dragon Ball. Like, it was, I had to go through a dealer.
That's
amazing. It was ridiculous. So, yeah.
I definitely, I got bootleg copies of like fan subs of Sailor Moon from someone random on the internet back then.
The subtitles were like, we're not terribly sure if they're accurate, but we're going to go with it.
What is this?
Yeah.
I've never heard that term before, a fan sub.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Cute.
Yeah. So it's like
I thought I was a nerd growing up, but the more I talked to you people, the more I realized I was just introverted. I wasn't a nerd. I was just introverted, and I read a lot of books.
It's a different type of nerd.
Yeah, it's a different kind.
It's a different flavor.
But valid.
Yeah.
I would love to talk more about your book series, the Moonlight Curse series that started with Moonlight and the Magician. Do you want to give our listeners just the rundown of what that book is about?
So I was thinking about, I'm terrible at doing elevator pitches, but it's really like a really fun kind of rompy, kind of magical adventure. There's the kind of spoiled pretty boy character meets like a handsome stranger with like kind of some dark secrets. And of course there's a little bit of like enemies to lovers kind of going on. There's some shifter vibes. They're working together to, try to solve this curse. But of course, things don't go very well. And there's lots of fun.
What fun would that be?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Lots of fun banter. There's sex in a hayloft at one point.
Snaps.
Yeah, right?
All right.
It's kind of like almost like a fantasy road trip kind of adventure.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And those characters have kind of been in my head for a long time, so it was great to finally get them on the page.
Was this novel like your first version of creating those characters in some way, shape, or form?
No. Those characters have been around in multiple iterations for a long time. I think they actually originally started off as fan characters set in the Legend of Zelda universe. But
I have so many follow-up questions.
Yeah.
You're speaking all of my love languages right now.
But they're so far divorced from that now. I wrote like a fan comic, a original comic with them like in college, but that didn't go anywhere. So I was like, I want to actually write this story. And I tried doing NaNoWriMo 1 year, and that is what got like the very, very rough draft of that first book started.
That's amazing. Yeah, I wanted to ask about the magic system within this series, because I know that you have, in the questionnaire, we were asking you what kind of books, like some of the books that were influential for you, and you talked about the Last Binding series, which I love. So I was going to ask if you pulled a lot of inspiration for your magic system from those. Like, do you have like an anchor or like a grounding kind of rod for your magic?
I would say the biggest inspiration for the magic in my books is actually the Dragon Age series, the video game series.
Can we be best friends? Like,
do I even need to be here?
Everything that you keep saying, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna need to hang out. Like, I'm gonna go to your house. We're gonna play games.
Please, let's play. No, yeah, Dragon Age is also another one of my big inspirations. But the magic system specifically, it's tied to genetics, basically your bloodline, and people don't necessarily have anything against queerness. In my world, it's just that like because magic is tied to genetics, like you need to get married and have kids, and that's how you pass on your magic. So like the big kind of like impetus of the story is that Valentino, my main character, is kind of being forced into kind of like a political marriage that he is not at all interested in, and he's like, I got to get out of here and leave, and that's where Bran comes in and they decide to go off on their journey together.
That's so cool. And you mentioned shifters. I didn't even know they were shifters, because I read the premise of sassy pretty boy and like roguish, tall, dark, and handsome, and so I just snagged the first book and like you got me there. What could are you able to talk about the shifters without giving away too much, or would that like spoil a plot line?
I can talk a little bit about it. Okay. There is a curse involved. It's more, when I say shifters, I don't mean like I kind of like the regular, or I guess the popular version of shifters, where there's like a pack of werewolves that live together and there's like alphas and stuff. It's more traditional kind of like werewolf, like someone is cursed and then on the full moon, something happens.
Gotcha.
I'll say that much.
Old school.
Yeah, old school. Yeah. I dig that. I love that.
Yeah.
So it's more of a thing you don't want to have, or like, it's not a good
he's
thing.
Not excited about it, but
fair.
there's some cat versus dog energy. I'll say that much.
Dig it. Love that.
Can you tell us about the cover of these books? They're so cool.
Yeah, I love the covers.
Oh, thank you. I actually recently commissioned an artist to do the new artwork for the covers.
And I see they're hanging behind you too.
Yeah, I know,
yes,
right?
I just got them printed out not too long ago. They're back there.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was so excited to get him. He's a trans artist that lives in Hungary, I believe. And his work is amazing. Their name is Beidus. So please check them out. Their artwork is really cool. But I really wanted to get some character artwork, like illustrated. I'm an illustrator myself, though I do like a lot more like cartoony kind of characters. So not exactly what I wanted for my covers. It's like, I got to commission an artist to do some new covers, because my publisher, their original covers were nice, but they're just like kind of generic, clip arty kind of artwork, and they're fine, they're great, but I was like, I want some illustrated covers. So I reached out specifically to this artist. I've been following them on Twitter or X or whatever they are calling it nowadays, and I was really excited that they were happy to work with me.
Yeah, I definitely think you did the right move, because like I saw the original covers when I snagged the book, and it's got like the cool typography, so it kind of aligns more with the vibe of that story. So I get where they're coming from, but yeah, your new covers are really eye-catching. Like they're just immediately like, oh, I know what the story is. You know what I mean? Like it's you had good intuition there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
One of the things I kind of noticed, if we can segue, is when I was like reading your bio, other than the fact that you said you loved video games and cartoons, so I was like, okay, well, I have tons of questions now, is that you ended it with saying you wanted to become a real art author, like capital R, capital A. What to you, what does that mean? Like, what is your barometer of success when it comes to being like a real author?
I mean, that's hard to say, because nowadays that can mean so many things to different people. So many people have found success through indie publishing, publishing it all by themselves. You know, I was very lucky in that I am working with a small boutique publisher who publishes specifically queer stories, which is awesome. And that aligned me with an excellent editor. But I guess to me, being a real author means like making a living from it. That would be so nice. Mm-hmm. You know, right now I have a day job, and it'd be great. You know, that day job, I've got the golden handcuffs because with the bennies, the benefits. Mm-hmm. But I would love one day just to write full time.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I also have the golden handcuffs of like a full-time job, which is a great job. We've talked about it before. Yeah. Like super happy I have it. But yeah, being able to, I think real author for me too is, this is my job. Like I get to do this all the time and not have to like turn in reports and stuff.
I am shocked by the number of authors I meet though, who, I mean, traditionally published, well-known authors that still have their day jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like my impression going into the publishing industry, knowing nothing, was that once you had a published book, that was your job.
Yeah, right.
You're an author.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
You know, and like to come to learn that, like, oh no, there are very, very few people who make their living being an author, and it's mostly the ones who achieve like a level of notoriety where like they can do appearance fees and they can get.
They're diversifying,
and stuff like that. And it's the people who are just writing good books that people like. A lot of them still have day jobs, or supplement their income some other way,
right?
Even if it's not a day job. So
or they have a partner who is able to support them, or this, that, or the other, and or they just like are insanely prolific. They have like literally like 20 to 50 different books that they're selling through their backlist. I was like, one day I would like that. I've got 3 now. That's a good start, I guess.
I was about to say
it's 3 more than I've written.
So it takes time building all that stuff up.
Yeah. So you have the 3rd book in the series coming, but before we get to that, like it seems to me, just reading the descriptions, that you stick with the same 2 protagonists in the 2nd book.
Yes. Yeah. The 3 books follow the same.
I know that's one of your favorites.
I love extending a story. I know it's not the popular thing, but like
I want it to be the popular.
Stories just continue.
Yeah, I'm hoping that catches back on again, because I kind of miss like diving, like having a whole series where you're following a couple growing together and having those like those connection moments and then falling apart and then connection moments again. Like it's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think it is. It adds an extra layer of challenge, though, because you kind of have to keep things fresh.
Yeah.
Especially with romance stories, there has to be that romantic tension.
You can't just be throwing them in a hayloft every few chapters. There's a barn. I think we know what's going to happen next.
No, and the setting also changes quite a bit from book to book. So it puts them in a lot of different situations. There's a lot of like crazy stuff going on in the 2nd book with Brand's family. The 1st book is more about Valentino, and the 2nd book is a little bit more about Brand. And then the 3rd one is them kind of like, all right, we really need to come together and figure some shit out if this is going to work. And really kind of face some consequences of their actions. I will say that.
It's epic. I love that. It's exciting.
Yeah. I know two of the stories that you wrote as influential stories, The Magpie Lord and A Marvelous Light, both of which I really enjoyed. I'm not familiar with the other two, but the two I know are both like, I mean, they're not real world books, but they're more or less based in Britain. Are you an Anglophile? And is that where your book is sort of set in your own mind? Or do you have a magical new place where they exist in?
I mean, I love historical romance, specifically, queer historical romance, which is why I love KJ Charles so much, the Magpie Lord author. But she also does a lot of just traditional, historical romance, non-magical. And I just feel like it's another kind of form of escapism. It feels like another world because it's so far divorced from our current reality. It feels almost fantastical. But I do love, period pieces, period romance. For my story, I would say it's actually roughly set in, I would say like pre-Victorian, like fantasy America, actually.
Okay.
But inverted, because when you go south, things get colder instead of when you go north.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the way the world works.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
not wrong.
If you go to a different hemisphere. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little kind of a Western vibes in the first book because they're traveling on horseback a lot.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, right? That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Do you have any things in mind for what comes next? Do you know like a genre
yes.
or you don't have to give us the outline of your next book before you're ready to, but what do you know where you're headed?
I have a lot of ideas. I always have like a ton of ideas. I have some ideas for kind of continuing the universe, more stories, but with different characters in the same universe. But and that's will potentially maybe be another 3-book series. But that would be with different couples each book. Because while I do love following the same characters throughout 3 books, it did get really complicated by the end.
That's fair.
Because I'm also dealing with like some dual timelines in the 3rd book. It got a little convoluted. It's like, I want to go back to something a little bit simpler. So I might actually take a break and do write a sapphic romance next, I believe.
Fun.
Set in a separate magic universe.
Cool.
Yeah. So it would not be connected to this one. It'd be like a totally different adventure or a totally different world and stuff.
I can't decide if it's going to be the same setting or not. I might try something different and see how it goes. But
nice.
I was going to ask if you were going to stick to MM or if you wanted to expand into other combinations of letters.
I think I definitely will expand. I've always wanted to write some sapphic romance as well, but I think I probably will always be going back to MM. That's just where, the heart of my writing lies.
Yeah.
Just 2 M's?
I've never considered 3 M's. I have considered MFM, if we can translate that. Like a poly romance, I think might be fun to write sometime. But I don't have any specific plans for that at the moment.
Gotcha. Are there any other genres that you would want to try to dabble into besides historical or magical? Like, would you ever do like a sci-fi or something like crazy?
I do have some ideas for a sci-fi series, or not a series, probably a standalone, which is about a woman who is basically in space acting as like a trash collector. And she falls in love with basically like a preservationist or an archaeologist who has come to kind of preserve like this satellite that's in space. And this is more like near future than it is sci-fi. Because I don't know if you've ever heard of like the accumulation of space junk that's in our solar system or our orbit. It's starting to become like a big problem with like how many like dead satellites. And I heard I believe it was like an NPR story a while ago about there's a satellite up there that has like a poem inscribed on it. And I can't remember the exact words. I wish I memorized it, but it says something about like how love will conquer all in like the coldness of space or something like that. And I was
my God, I love
that.
Right?
Yeah. And I was like, I want to write a story about that.
Yeah, I was about to say, how can you not hear that and be like, well, I got to write a whole damn book about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that idea has also been percolating, but yeah, I think fantasy is where my heart lies. I would like to try maybe horror sometime. Because I've found that, especially in like book 3, there's a lot of horror elements that come out because of like the origins of the curse and all of that. And I was like, man, this is kind of gross. Are people going to be turned off by this? But I was like, I'm having fun.
Yeah,
so
right.
hopefully other people will too. But also, I have so many ideas. I'd also like to do like a more of like a cozy kind of romance, a simpler one, like I said, because this one got kind of convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
Something a little bit simpler, something cozy, something more like almost like a fantasy Stardew Valley or something like that.
Yeah, man, you'd think that there would be more like Stardew Valley-esque romances out there because of how popular that game is. Like just fun, cozy little warm cup of tea romances, but set in like some cute little fantasy world. There needs to be more of those. Or maybe I just haven't found them. I'm sure they exist. Maybe I just need people to recommend.
Well, if you're looking for a game like that, you should check out Fields of Mystria, which is basically a Stardew Valley like, yeah.
Fields. Okay.
Okay, so not knowing anything about Stardew Valley, can I ask this though? Like, is there actual like, are there obstacles to overcome in Stardew Valley?
I mean, yes and no. It's you. So you get gifted a farm basically, and they're like, okay, well, you got to clean it up and start farming and stuff like that. So it's kind of like managing your farm, but also if you go into town, there's people you can talk to and like build up those relationships and like learn kind of their backstory and give them gifts, and like you can unlock romances and stuff. But there's also like a cool supernatural element with like mysterious weird stuff happening outside and inside the town with like weird caves and like
there's a wizard there randomly too.
Yeah, there's a wizard just chilling. Yeah. So there's a lot of just like fun little things to uncover, but you're never gonna die. You know what I mean? Like if the worst thing that'll happen is you run out of energy and you wake back up at home and like your cow's mad because it didn't get milked. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty relaxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might be why there's not a lot of novels about it. Because as we've talked about before, like a story with no obstacles is like
right. Well, I mean, I think you can do something similar to like Legends and Lattes, where like she gave everything to open this little coffee shop, and nobody's going to be like stabbing her, but it could fail. I mean, there were some people
literally came back and tried to kill her because she used to be a warrior orc, and like people from her past.
Yeah, but
like that was the obstacle that she had to overcome. Even though it was cozy and it was like a lot about a rat baking pastries, it was also that there was she was escaping
threat.
her past, and she had to ultimately overcome that.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't have to be high stakes, saving the kingdom, breaking a curse all the time. It would be nice if it was just like, how are we going to keep the farm alive?
Yeah, right. Something just like, I don't need everything to be super stressed. It's like kind of like a Great British Baking Show, but somehow a romance. Just chill and nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to take my try at like a cozy fantasy sometime.
For sure.
Just a little bit lower stakes.
Yeah. I noticed on your website you have a members only section.
Yeah, what is that?
What will people get when they're a member?
So if you join the members only section, you can get some high res artwork, including, nice versions of the new covers. You get access to my ARC readers list if you would like to become someone who reviews early reader copies of my books. There's also previews for, so if you haven't read the books, there's like first chapters you can read for free of both books 1 and 2. I need to put book 3 up there now, though it's not fully edited yet. It'll be up there eventually.
How does one join the members? Like, how do you become?
You basically just have to join my newsletter, and then you'll get a password that will allow you to go into the members only section.
That's cool. Yeah, it was
very cool.
Immediately on tapped the FOMO part of my brain because I was like, well, what is that? I want that. Just because I can't see it now, I have to see it.
Right? I must know.
I must know.
Yeah,
that's smart.
You said that the third book got convoluted. Does that mean you're a pantser?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a recovering pantser, I think. I have gotten better with creating, very loose outlines, but when I am first starting up the story, I write the fun bits first in whatever order, and then I have to go back in and fill things in and keep it interesting as I go, which can be quite challenging. And for this third book, there's basically dual narratives. There's a story that's going on in the current timeline, not modern day, of course, but in the current timeline with our two, main protagonists. And then there's a completely separate dual story going on in the past 100 years ago that ties into eventually what's going on in the current storyline. And I was like, why did I make this so convoluted? But I think it actually really works really well, and it answers a lot of questions from the first two books. So I hope readers enjoy it as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And we were talking in a previous episode about the ambition is something that we recognize and see. And I'm like, yeah, do it. If it's something that you feel like is important to the story and it's a little bit more complicated, throw it in there, right? Go for it, and just people will gravitate to it, I think.
Yeah, it was really important for me to tell that part of the story. We'll see how much gets cut out by my editor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're going to get the final say. Really,
but such an important process.
Yes, yeah,
it is. No, oh my god,
Yeah.
I love my editor so much. I think whatever power exists for her every day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Is there anything else you would want our listeners to know before we let you go?
No, thank you guys so much for having me. This has been really cool. I really appreciate you taking the time. And if anyone is interested in joining my ARC team, hit me up. Check out my website. It's just EvelynCarver.com, or I'm becoming more active on Blue Sky now.
Sure.
Getting away from Twitter and Facebook and all of that. So if you're interested in hearing more, please follow me on Blue Sky.
I love that. Go check it out. We'll link to that in the show notes. We've got to update all of our social media stuff to now include Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, maybe take off TikTok.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah. We're in the midst of that right now, listeners.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for taking the time. It was really nice to get to know you and hear about your work. And perhaps we will speak again in the future.
Thank you so much. I would love that.
Many thanks to Evelynn for coming on the podcast to chat with us. Moonlight and the Magician is out now with the third and final book in the series, slated for later this year. So go check that out.
Absolutely.
Her socials will be in the show notes. And that's it for us. As always, you can find us at hoofandfangpodcast.com, and that's also where you can link to our social media and sign up for our Patreon. We'll be back next week.
See you then.
Bye.